Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Come on. Boom. There's that one. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to Political Head Trauma. Tonight we're going to be talking about the fun stuff, but first I kind of want to give a heavy shout out to KMMU and play this intro. We'll be right back.
Live from Utah's Wasatch Front, the pulse of the Mountain West, where the issues that shape your life meet the truth that sets you free. Across Utah, across the Republic, and around the world, welcome. This is KMMU.
All right, we're back, and I think Holly's phone is playing our stuff.
How?
There we go.
How on earth?
All right, everyone. How are you tonight?
Who knew?
Yes. Sorry we're running a little bit late, but tonight we'll be having our local representative, Nicholeen Peck. She's a rep for here in Tooele. She's going to join us to talk about this judicial ruling that happened. What's the judge's name? Gibson, I think, or Humana something. Dianna Gibson made that kind of backed up. We had some plaintiffs come in, women's for a communist country, and and something about estrogen. I don't know. Anyways, it's all women's trying to support the Women's Party, and this judge is a woman, and she went for it, and now we're going to enjoy that. It's going to it looks like it'll totally disenfranchise Tooele County by pairing us up with the majority of Salt Lake. And so Salt Lake is going to carry the elections from here on out. So I hope that, I hope everyone's got their pronouns in their bios ready. And I don't know, what other things do the Democrats want us to do? They want us to,
They don't want you to have free speech or own a weapon.
Yeah.
And we know that.
Yeah.
Things that don't go along with Tooele County values at all.
All those fun things. So it's game time, folks. Anyways, how are you?
Yeah, I'm exhausted. There's so much going on right now politically, not just in Utah, but around the nation, right? You got the shutdown. They've agreed to open the government. Watching the Democrats eat their own right now. They're furious that they got 10 to come to the table. And if you look at the 10 that came to the table, they all are padding, they have their re-elections happen in not till 2028, or they're not running again. So you can see the politics in all of this.
I have a different take on all of that.
Well,
I think they got exactly what
Jordan.
they wanted.
Yeah, they wanted to get through their elections.
They wanted to get through the elections, get Mom Donnie in and all the other psycho communists and all the other estrogen party favorites. And
the estrogen party.
The Democrat Party is complete female. They act female. Everything they do is female. They are the most emasculated party that could exist.
I take offense to that. They are pretending like they're female, but I know a lot of women don't like this crap. They're done with it.
That's because a lot of women like men.
That's true.
Ta-da! All right. Okay, that conversation was quick.
Yeah.
That's all I had to do was explain to her that I'm not saying women are bad. I'm saying when men try to act like women, that's negative. Anyways, so they wanted to get through the elections. Here's one thing that the Democrats, the Democrat voters, that they need to recognize this, that the Democrat Party on the whole is willing to sacrifice you for their craven political ends. So you poorest people, you people most at hazard, needs to recognize that the party will gladly lay you on an altar and pierce your heart with obsidian for their political ends. Just recognize that. Now, granted, I'm not happy with the Republicans right now either, but we can get into that. I think Donald Trump and his shenanigans around the Epstein thing that keeps blowing up in his face, midterms are gonna suck for the Republicans. Will you message her and told her I sent it on Messenger and to the email I have on record?
Yeah, I think she found it.
She just messaged me and asked me to send it to her, but I only send it to the places that I have. But anyways, so I think the minute we wake up and recognize that all of our political parties are craven, all of our political parties, they don't care. The both of them will gladly use you for a little. They will step on you for a nickel. Once we all realize that and we say, oh, maybe I'm going to pull away from political parties and move into becoming an actual educated voter, looking beyond what MSNBC or Fox tells me about someone, maybe then we can wrestle our nation back. But if not, I mean, just keep cruising the way we're going. I mean, it's, we're heading to where Europe is. But,
well, if I'm a Republican, of course,
Mhm.
and I'm furious. I'm also confused. Why aren't we going towards the nuclear option 1,000 hours ago?
because they're going to lose the midterms regardless, and that'll totally empower the Democrats.
Well, I mean,
Because they're hoping that Trump will get a chance to put in a couple more justices in.
well, they can never count on that. And the problem is, if the Democrats win, they're going to stack the Supreme Court anyways. And if Republicans want to be smart, they're going to take care of stuff while they have the power. You remember how they always said, if we only just had all three houses,
Really?
we have it and we're wasting it.
Both parties say that and both parties do that. Because
I get it.
both parties are craven. Honestly, I
I don't see us on Facebook for some reason.
well, I'm on there right now.
Weird.
But anyways, that's just where we're at. So all you poor people who had your SNAP taken away and all that other stuff, it's time to recognize that the Democrat Party used you as a pawn for political ends. They did. And
let's talk about what it is exactly. It's not, we're talking about healthcare. They keep saying that we're fighting for your healthcare. No, they're fighting to keep COVID dollars, sustaining your healthcare.
Mhm.
And yet it was never yours to begin with.
Because
and
the Affordable Care Act was
an absolute,
it's a boondoggle. But Nicholeen is here.
and remember that was supposed to save families $2,500 a year. And it actually made insurance go up 200% in a lot of areas. And I don't know anyone whose insurance went down after the Affordable Care Act. So if we're being really honest, and during COVID numbers, that's the numbers they're going to use to follow up. Once you give people something, it becomes an entitlement. And how dare you take it away, even though it was a temporary thing? All of us are struggling with healthcare that are in need of it. All of us, whether you make $100,000 a year or $40,000 a year, healthcare needs to be reformed, period, the end. Insurance companies have made 500% profit since Obamacare.
Get the government more involved in it. It goes down every time they get more involved. It's the fix every time. The government has been known to solve many a problem.
Yeah, I don't know any problems that it solves.
Someone once pointed out the freeway system. Yes, but then the freeway system was also used as a cudgel against, I believe it was Wyoming and Kentucky. And they got their freeways taken away for a handful of years until they bent to the knee of Ronald Reagan at the time. Both Republican states. Anyways, let's bring Nicholeen in and hear what she has to say.
Hi.
Hello,
Hey,
Representative Peck. How are you tonight?
I am happy. Thank you. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. So, tell us about all the destruction, mayhem, meteorite heading straight for us that happens when the judiciary gets involved, and they're going to disenfranchise the political parties of Tooele County.
I would like it to simplify it. Please explain what we're dealing with right now and what I know a lot of people have seen on Facebook. They've seen a back and forth regarding this judge. And a lot of people don't understand what's happening as far as the maps go. And a lot of people are just, they kind of glaze over when they see the map. So I want to know from a legislator exactly what is happening and then how it's affecting the average voter or citizen.
Totally. And I know why there would be a glaze over, because this is so nuanced and long. It's been going on for so long and it's so messy. And so it's like, what is really happening here? And so people hear one little soundbite from one little person and they think they've got the whole picture of what it is. And I know that tonight, I'm not going to be able to read every opinion of the court and all of those different things. And I'm not an attorney, which means I'm not even the smartest person to tell all of this stuff, but I have been getting involved in it. And it is something that directly impacts the legislature. And I'm concerned.
And the state's constitution as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my big concern. So one thing about me, when I ran, I told this to a few groups. I'm not sure if you guys were ever in any of those groups, but my direct ancestor, John Henry Smith, was the president of the committee that created the Utah Constitution. And so to me, the Utah Constitution is a big deal. I mean, it should be anyway. It protects our form of government, just like the national or federal constitution protects all of us all across the whole country. Our individual state constitutions are also supposed to stand as those protections. And our state constitution is absolutely being violated by this decision from this judge. So one elected judge overrode the Utah Constitution. That's what we're talking about. And the voices of Utah voters to select a map drawn behind closed doors by out-of-state advocacy groups is what they are pushing for. So this judge took a map from out-of-state advocacy groups that used partisan data, that was admitted in testimony that they used partisan data, that was part of the algorithm for this map that was drawn up. This map number 1 was the name of the map. That's not the one.
That's not it.
That's map C. That's option C. But I'm glad you're actually looking at map C. That was the one that we had to come together at the legislature and had to vote. There were multiple maps that we could choose from, and that was ultimately the one that the legislative body suggested. And we had to make that map because of this judge, because of Judge Gibson, and because of this lawsuit, which truthfully, I don't think a judge should ever be able to say to the legislature, you guys have to go make a map and I get to decide.
Well, who holds a judge accountable? I mean, and I'm sorry, we need to backtrack a little bit just to get people up to speed. So when we did redistricting, like every state does in every 10 years, it's when we account for the citizens of the state, and then we choose how many seats they have, or, right down to nonpartisan races in counties and things like that. But we have our congressional seats, especially our Senate seats. So we did redistricting. They did a tour around the state, a committee made up of both parties, and they allowed the public to submit maps. And I was part of that process as the chair of the Tooele County Party. And a lot of citizens in our county was part of that process. And some of our electeds, our own senator, Scott Sandel, was the chair of that committee. And we also have Merrill Nelson on there, one of our former reps out of Grantsville. But there were Democrats on there as well. So there was a separate committee created that was supposed to be a nonpartisan committee made up to also include maps to submit,
So
correct?
this was called the Independent Redistricting Commission. Okay. So you're right. We should probably back up with the story just a little bit, and probably don't have time to go into every detail of the story, but the timeline kind of goes 2018, Proposition 4 passes. And this is a proposition that was on the ballot that called for this independent redistricting commission to be created because people wanted to make sure that certain guidelines were followed. And so they wanted an independent group instead of a partisan group to create the maps because they knew that that was something that was going to be coming up. Okay. So, just so you know, Proposition 4 passed with a very, very small margin. So the state constitution gives authority to the legislature for making maps. And there is a reason for that because we can be fired by the
Yes.
people because we're elected. And if people think we're doing shenanigans, they can get us out. But some independent company, company or group, commission, how are you going to actually get them out? That's going to be harder, right? But even so, Proposition 4 passed, and it passed 50.24% to 49.66%, which means it was a whopping, what is that? 40% or something, or not 40,
No, point.
0.4% or less than that, even maybe 0.3 something percent that it actually passed by in the state. So this was not some overwhelming, the people in the state want this Proposition 4, but I think on its surface, it looked good. Like, well, that could be a good thing to make sure that there's no shenanigans that happen. So people voted for this. So then after that, there was some concern, even by Better Boundaries, who was a big part of Proposition 4. There was some concern and by legislature, and then they brought in Better Boundaries and they created a compromise. Okay. So this compromise happened in 2020, February of 2020. Lawmakers said, did you notice that there could be a problem here, or the Constitution says this? And so they had to come up with a compromise. This is a very normal thing that can happen after an initiative or something that happens on the ballot. And that's really important to understand because as legislators, we're looking out for everything in the state, and we have to, balance budgets, and we have to look at the code that's in the state and make sure it all matches and everything else. So just because somebody writes something to put on a ballot doesn't mean that we should override our whole Constitution for it every time or something like that, right? So we have to make sure it all matches. So anyway, there was a compromise that was struck. There was a bill that was passed. It was SB 200 that was passed in March. So the end of the session in 2020, it was actually bipartisan run. So Kurt Bramble in the Senate and Carol Moss in the House. So Carol Moss, Democrat, Kurt Bramble, Republican. And there were only 4 votes in the House against it. It was practically unanimous. It was so close to being unanimous because everyone realized that this compromise would be good. So then in 2020, that happened. I said 2020, right? March of 2020. So then the maps were made in 2021. And then there were people who were mad about the maps that were made, even though there were 2 groups who were following the rules in Proposition 4 that were outlined. So the Independent Redistricting Commission, as well as the Legislative Redistricting Committee, worked together and put all the maps together so that it would be as fair as possible. And there were certain things that they were putting into place, things such as they wanted to make sure that every congressional district had both urban and rural so that they could speak for all of Utah. So it wouldn't be just one city that is a district or something, but there would be a representation from all around. And there were key things like that they thought this is important to make sure that Utah has a voice, that all of Utah has a voice by all of its congressional people. So anyway, so that happened. And then there was a lawsuit that started in 2022. So here we are, 2025, and we're just getting to the end of that lawsuit. Okay.
Who filed it?
Okay. So the people who filed, two activist groups, one of them, the League of Women Voters.
Don't side eye me.
Come on, bring us more.
And the Mormon Women for Ethical Government.
Boom. I'm telling you, the Democrat is a lady political party. Go on. I apologize.
Okay. Anyway, that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Or
there
someone who
you-
identifies as a lady.
Yeah, but you're a lady that likes real men, not a
Oh,
lady
okay.
that likes
I'm gonna get
men that
personal here.
men that cross their legs a little too high.
Okay. Well, anyway, those are the two groups. Okay. League of Women Voters and Mormon Women for Ethical Government. They sue in March of 2022. So 2 years later, they come up with a lawsuit. And it goes to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court rules on the appeal of that lawsuit in July of 2024. So, it's working through the system. And then last year in July, the court gave an opinion, and their opinion was that the right to reform government through an initiative cannot be impaired by legislative amendment, repeal, or replacement. So this Supreme Court ruling was that basically any initiative could turn into some super law.
And super laws would be unconstitutional according to Utah's constitution.
Doesn't that mean you just say, yeah, we're not enforcing your unconstitutional law? You try to enforce it with your black robe and your little hammer. Go on.
Okay. Well, so this is a thing. And this is really, you're hitting it right on the head, Jared, because the big thing is we have a judge who is not elected by the people, who is now making up laws, right? And so we had the Supreme Court saying this is going to be the law of the land. So this is when Amendment D was put on the ballot, and Amendment D was that we couldn't have these super laws. That we have the elected people, the legislators need to make sure that we keep the law safe. But that doesn't mean we don't listen to initiatives. Of course we do. And of course, those initiatives, when voted upon, are the voice of the people, and they're honored as the voice of the people. But the thing is that you can't just take him as a super law. Otherwise, you could undo your whole government through initiative. And then when something goes wrong, you can't fix it because you don't have anyone to fire. You don't have anyone to elect. There's not a process for how to fix it if you turn them into a super law. So that's actually a really dangerous thing. And it was never intended to happen that way. So we had a situation in our state where, that Medicaid expansion, people were trying for Medicaid expansion in our state for many, many years, because Medicaid, is meant for the poor and the people who, are at a certain poverty level, but not anymore, because Medicaid expansion was passed through initiative. So our state has to balance its budget. We have to look through things. Our state's economy, the budget, the largest thing for many, many, many years, for as long as I can remember until recently, was actually education. So always the schools took the biggest portion of the money. And then when Medicaid expansion passed, that actually changed. So now Medicaid takes the largest portion of the money for the state of Utah, because it's being given to all kinds of people because of that expansion. And what people don't know is that when that expansion passed on the ballot, that it almost
Got your phone.
Oh, it is. I'm so sorry. I don't know what. No, it's my computer dinging. I should probably figure out a way to make it not ding when I'm on these
It's
things.
okay.
That's
Carry
okay.
on.
I'm just making sure it's not something
It's
in here,
not
because
yours.
it's usually me.
Okay.
Yeah, Holly's usually got something going off
Sorry,
in her
I
pocket.
should have been a little bit more proactive about that before I
What
got
were
it.
those old electronic pets that you carried in your pocket
Oh.
that you had to deal with?
They had
I
a
never
Japanese
had
name
one.
or something.
Pain in the butts or whatever they were called. Yeah, Holly's got 3 of them, one in
Sorry,
every pocket.
squirrel.
Okay. Anyway, no, that's fine. So what I was going to say is we actually had that particular initiative passed, or I mean, it did pass, but had it been implemented exactly like it passed, then we would have bankrupted our state, not had money for education or all these other things. And the taxpayers, I'm sure, would not have loved a massive, massive tax hike for that, right? So the representatives and the senators said, hold on, how do we honor the will of the people with this? What kind of a compromise can we make? If that's the will of the people, if that's what they really want, okay, fine. But how do we also protect our public ed and all these other things that, we have to fund? And so there were a few little tweaks that were made so that it could work, but it still gets more money today. So a lot of people don't understand that there has to be a little bit of okay, now it hits the state and we got to deal with it and we got to fund it. But how do we do that? Right. We have to go through some procedures there. So anyway, that happened. With this particular issue, and Amendment D was put on the ballot, but then a judge actually said you can't have Amendment D on the ballot. And so there we go. There's another move by a judge. So we had an opinion by a judge for super laws. We had a move by a judge to say Amendment D couldn't be on the ballot. And now we're having another move by a judge, Judge Gibson, who's saying that she gets to choose the map for the congressional maps, the districts for our state. And, the people are mad. Okay. I mean, they're angry and we're seeing it online. The people who follow this, who understand what's really happening, they're like, no way. Because what they're seeing is that if we let this be the status quo, if we let judges continue to legislate like this from the bench, then we will lose our whole Constitution.
Well, I mean, after the Civil War and all of the fire and blood, we might get it back.
Can we just talk a minute for the people who do sign these propositions and the people who do gather signatures and the amount comparable to how many actual voters are in the state that are making these super laws? It's crazy. If this is a precedent that they're setting, then a small group of people from the state will determine what all of us are going to go through.
Not even a small group of people from the state.
Out of state people
women
too.
For ethical, whatevers.
There should be no such thing as a super law that overrides the Constitution of our state. And this is insane. And there should be no way a judge can override our legislature. That is literally, they should be equal powers in some sense. But at the same time, one judge is going to determine how each of us, the voter, independent or Republican, how life's going to go. What is going to stop a judge from deciding that, yeah, this little group over here that doesn't want guns for people to carry, we think that's not right, and we're overriding it because they got signatures from 100,000 people out of a 3 million person state.
Spot on, Holly. Spot on. Once this gets started, it's an avalanche. And we've seen this very thing already play out in California. So they have the super law system there. And so it's just everything gets put into that ballot. And you think how many people go through when they're on their ballot and there's all these different things on there, how many of them actually go and read the history of why this thing is on there? And it's not even, I mean, it might be a paragraph kind of about it or something, but beyond that, they don't know why it's there. They don't know there was some other bill and who didn't like it and who got the signatures to put it on there and who paid, if it was paid for, if it was, they don't know. People don't know. And I'm not saying initiatives are bad, because they're not bad. In fact, initiatives are protected in our Constitution. And that's a good thing, because that's another check, right, on the system. And it's a good thing to have in place. I'm not against them whatsoever, but I think we have to make sure that we keep all of the Constitution in mind, not just one piece of it. And nowhere does it say that judges are supposed to be legislating from the bench.
I want to know. I've seen petitions before. I've seen these propositions come out. The way they're written is a lot of legal speak and all of that, and they don't see it to its final conclusion. That becomes the job of you in the legislature. How are you going to pay for it? That's always my favorite question. Oh, you guys want to change all of this? What does that look like in 3 years?
For
You're
our
going to take my congresswoman and you're going to lump me into Salt Lake County with me and all my neighbors we're in rural but growing, and we have more conservative values out here. And you're going to put me in with Salt Lake, who's used to the urban, who want a lot more liberal ideas, and the two don't really match. I mean, we are kind of an island in our own over on this side in the West, but right now, at least we're matched with Southern Utah and parts of North, Davis or whatever.
Mhm.
But to put us in with Salt Lake like they're doing it's insane to me. Meanwhile, what kind of why if it's so important do they need to literally draw a tiny circle? We have 13% of Democrats that vote in this state. And then
Mhm.
people will say to me, well, yeah, but in order to have any control, you got to vote Republican. Great. You're voting Republican. Well, why don't you vote for your own party and try to grow it rather than try to get a judge to demand that we all have to go with
Well,
this? This
because
is insane to
one
me.
way you win. That's it. It's one way you win. They went to the judge because they probably judge shopped, found the judge they wanted, got a hardcore activist judge up there, and then they got it pushed through. And not just that, but it sounds like the judge sat on it for quite a while.
Yeah, she
So
took her sweet time.
this is a big part of the thing. And we're talking sit on it. That is an understatement.
Yeah. What can you do to hold the judge accountable?
Nothing. They're appointed, right?
Well, see, this is the thing. Is there were things that were happening, that this delay game that was going on, which we're all going, and the timing. So very interesting how it's all playing out with, right before the holidays and right as the vote just happened and all these different things. And it's just a very interesting thing how it all played out. I mean, and she tried to get even an extension for herself to even go later. She had until November 10th. She had to have it submitted by November 11th at midnight. So the very end of November 10th, she had to have that submit her final
Veterans Day.
thing on
Right.
this. She had to have it finally submitted. She had to say, this is my final
answer.
ruling. Okay. And at 11:41 p.m. on November 10th, finally the published judge's decision comes out. It rejects that map that you showed, Jared. That was the legislature.
Okay.
Now,
And now what map am I looking for so I can put
Okay.
it up there?
So first off, I want you to pull up that one you did.
Okay.
Map C. Okay, so pull that up.
Okay, hold on. I gotta find it again.
Yeah, you're like, I have a whole screen of maps.
Is that this one right here? Hold on. You're just gonna
I
have
think
to.
you can put in Utah map C.
It
I
probably-
might have shared it on our page as well because it was also one endorsed by the party.
Is it this one right here?
Nope. That's what we currently have.
Okay, that's what we currently have. All right. I'm just gonna type in
At least
Utah
at quick glance, that's what it looks like. It's
Utah map C.
yeah.
Let's see what we get on this. Okay.
I mean, I don't want to make it more difficult for you, but
It's fine.
okay. So just the backstory here a little bit. Okay, so as this particular court case is proceeding along, there's all the different briefings and stuff like that happen and the different deadlines. And there was a deadline that was decided that there were supposed to be decisions that were made in June or something, and it didn't get made until the end of August. She just held off and held off and held off. And then there was this decision on August 25th of this year that said that she was going to give the legislature 30 days to come up with a new map that complied with Proposition 4. So that means they had to go through the whole process again. And we're talking this whole process include getting public input, all of these things. Okay, they took that map in 2021 around the whole state.
Yeah. Multiple areas.
Yeah, they went everywhere and had open discussions on it and got people's voice from people because they're like, listen, we heard you on Proposition 4. Tell us about the map. You know, here it is. And what do you think? And you got questions and, and all that kind of stuff. And they did it as nonpartisan as possible so that everything was, I mean, they didn't use partisan data to make it. So then she says to them in August 25th, you got 30 days to make a new map, and you got to go through the whole process. So let me tell you about our legislative redistricting committee. Holy cow. They were eating, sleeping, drinking this. The attorneys, our legislators that were all part of this, they did nothing but this. That is not it either.
I don't know where
You
to
may
look.
have to forward it to me
Yeah.
because
Do you have
it's
it?
pulling up all sorts of maps.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
sorry.
okay, so it will look like Tooele County plus a teeny bit of Salt Lake. That's map C. And that's what it will look like. So you'll see that square of Tooele, and then anyway, and then you'll see the bottom left side and the bottom right
Or
side.
maybe put redistricting.
I tried
Oh,
that.
redistricting map C. It's funny because that one you pulled up at the very beginning, that was it.
Yeah.
That was
And
the
I'm
one.
trying to find it because I've shared it all over the place. Maybe it's on the party page.
Anyway,
Um,
well, it probably is all over the place, and just because we wanted to refer to it, we can't. But that's okay because I think I can tell you the gist of it if you can't locate it.
I just
Anyway.
keep talking. I'll just keep throwing up random maps.
What about this map? What about this one? Okay, so anyway, they did this Herculean effort. That is okay. Now hold on. That right there is
The new
the
one.
map number 1. So hold on to that one.
So this is our new map.
This is, I call it the donut map because look at that thing. It's like a donut.
Mhm.
There's a hole in the middle. It, right there. And so that's what the judge, that's what was created by Mormon Women for Ethical Government and the who's the other one? The women's, I can't even remember now.
This is insane. What
The League of Women Voters. The League of Women
It's
Voters.
times like this I like to reflect on the 19th Amendment, folks. I like to think how wonderful it is done for a functioning United States. It is.
who
really-
is backing these groups? Like who's the who's behind? I mean, is it George Soros? Is it who are these people?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question if they have like backing like that, because this is, I do know that that at the end of these types of court cases, they're probably going to try to go for, hey, now that we won, we want you to pay our court fees, right? So, but after all this time, I'm sure they've got some pretty hefty court fees. I don't know if they were donated or if somebody else was paying. I have no idea. But anyway, back to my story. So 30 days we did it. There were multiple maps that were presented. It was like up to an E, I think, A, B, C, D, E, I think maybe even F. There was a lot of different maps. They were done completely nonpartisan, and they were presented. There was committees on them. The people could come in and speak to them. The people could call in on the Zoom and speak to them. And it went on for hours and hours and hours if you watched those proceedings, those hearings on those maps. And then there was a special session that was called, there it is, you found it. Okay, so this was the one that was decided. Now I want to show you just a few things on this. The part where Tooele looks a little small compared to the rest, doesn't it?
Yes, it do.
Yeah, it does.
Because we got swallowed by all of West Valley, Harriman.
Yeah, so right. So some of those
Daybreak.
areas that are in there are, on the other side of the mountain there.
South Jordan, West Jordan.
Right. So we're in there with them. And this was the one. It wasn't actually my favorite one. There was another one that I liked better. And we went through all the debates with all the different ones. And at the end of the day, this is the one that the majority of people wanted and that they proposed as this to be our legislative map. And so even though it wasn't my favorite out of all of the maps, I still said, okay, because, you know,
you can't polish a turd. And this was the least annoying
we have
of
to
them all.
do something. We have to do something, right? And here we are. And we were obeying the judge. And I've got to say, there was a lot of people that called me that were so mad that this was even happening. And they were like, how come you are doing what the judge says? That judge should not be legislating like this. She should not be telling you guys what to do. And we were like, listen, in good faith, we're going to go ahead and, you know, honor this process here that's happening. And I suppose people could argue whether we should have or shouldn't have, but that's what happened. And we made this map and we submitted it on time. We went through the whole process. It even had public comment. Okay. And then the plaintiffs in the case, the League of Women Voters and the Mormon Women for Ethical Government, they submitted their map that was drawn behind closed doors, no public input on it, no hearings, no anything, just turned over to the judge. And then the judge decided to choose that map at the last second.
This one here?
Not this one, no. This is the one we submitted.
This one here.
That's the one. Now, okay, so if you back up to C, so go back to C for a second. I wanted to show you.
I like this one better because, you know, at least we're not overwhelmed by all of Salt Lake.
Okay, so
because we're a totally different.
That takes a congressional seat.
Okay, so when you look at this map, it may look like you might be looking at surface area, but you have to remember how much rural we've got and how much people you have to put in to make it one congressional district. Okay, so you see over the Colorado River right there, how the map, this map C follows the Colorado River down. Okay, that is a key thing because down at the bottom of that is Lake Powell. If you represent St. George, which is over on the left-hand corner of the state, okay, and then you also represent like Blanding, which is over on like the right-hand corner of the state, you know, way over here, you can't get from St. George to Blanding unless you go all the way up, and then over.
Well, there is a road that cuts through the mountains right about here. It's a heck of a long drive. I've done it. It's beautiful.
Okay. I don't think that's a long drive for winter and all the months. You know, I don't know. but if you are going to really represent that whole area down there all together, that Lake Powell in that area down there is a huge barrier for you being able to get to within any decent amount of time to your other side. And when I say decent, I mean like under 4 hours.
Oh, 100%.
You can't. We're talking like an 8-hour drive or something. I mean, it's for depending on how you get there. But so this is huge, big thing. And if you go to the other map, you'll see, if you look at that section, look at that.
Well, yeah, District 3 is ridiculous.
Let's say that's Kennedy's, you know, okay. So let's say Kennedy, who lives in like
Provo
Island. Okay, yeah, that area. Okay, so if he has to go all the way up to like Vernal, and he has to go to looks like Park City, Vernal, all the way down Blanding, all the way over to St. George, and all that kind of stuff. Do you realize that there's going to be people that don't get to see their congressman on a regular basis? I mean, you know how much we love how Celeste will just she'll come to stuff. She'll show up to things and she participates. That's going to be absolutely unreal for someone to try to do on a regular basis. And the only place where there's an airport in there that could probably work would be St. George or Cedar City, right? So not
Monument Valley has an airport also. It's private, but they'll
Oh,
let
I
you
was
use
gonna
it.
say, do they have can you take like a SkyWest flight there? Probably not, right? Okay.
Sure. You just gotta jump out on your way
Mind
to.
you, that would be taxpayers covering it.
Well, no,
Right, yeah.
I get what you're saying. I'm not. I honestly do. I get what you're saying, and I agree with it. The thing I don't like about this one here is
Mhm.
that nub right there is going to negate everything west of the Oakers.
Well,
The Oakers
the
will no
percentage
longer, if you're west of the Oakers, you'll no longer carry a vote.
So the way that it is in this option C is that every one of the districts has some urban in it.
Well,
Okay. And so it's not just
we're the rural representation of that map.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's kind of how that went down. But I get your frustration because you don't there is a possibility that, oh, why is the Salt Lake Valley, um having this kind of poll or whatever. But I think they tried to divide urban and rural population pretty well so that the rural would still be able to have representation and have a voice. I was really amazed at what they did there. So, but if you go to that other map, so if you go to map 1, this was the judges map, the map of the plaintiffs, and you see on here how it's divided.
This one, they're definitely trying to get. You can see it. They're trying to get a Democrat congressperson guaranteed.
Well, the
every
thing
cycle.
is they haven't even been silent about that.
No.
I mean, the head of the Democrat Party, I believe it is, back in DC basically said, "Oh, great, look what we've done to get a Democrat in." And so it's an obvious move. And I will say that when there was all of the public comment that was happening on the other maps that were being decided at the legislature, not this one, that public comment, everybody was like, we deserve a Democrat. We need to have a Democrat. And it was really always about partisan stuff. And the whole process is not supposed to be about partisan stuff. That's the whole point of it, is that it wasn't supposed to be made with partisan stuff in mind. But when you look at this and you know where all of our Democrat elected officials come from, then you know that there has been partisan information that is being taken into account there just by looking at it.
100%.
Yeah, you can kind of tell.
I will say this. I went to a little deal. It was arguing better. They were, I don't know what they were trying to do. They're trying to do something.
Braver Angels.
Yeah. And there were 2 Democrats, 1 Republican, and me, the crazy weirdo person. And I was closer aligned with both the Democrats when it came to my fundamental beliefs than I were with the Republican. She's a reporter for one of the newspapers out of Salt Lake, and she was totally anti-Second Amendment. We don't need it. It's, where both the Democrats, although neither of them were as pro-Second Amendment as they should be, neither of them argued against it. And all 3 of them were pro-big government. And I'm just the weirdo sitting over there. The only one difference is I'm the only truly rural person, although I do believe the one Democrat who ran for Congress, he is rural-ish, but he's rural in an urban setting in his life,
Okay. He's rural for urban people.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll call him Furban.
Okay. Anyway, well, the point really of all this is, and I'm glad you're having this conversation because people are angry and the Utahns have a right to be angry right now. This was unconstitutional. It was unprecedented. and it shut voters out entirely from the redistricting process. To have it go through the courts, the voters, what was the point of Prop 4 then? Because we wanted the voters to be able to have a say and to know what was going on with these things. And now, because one judge picked one thing at the latest hour and all this kind of stuff, that now it's not, and Utahns deserve leaders who will defend their voice and ones that they can, and their constitution,
The Constitution requires
and
it.
the balance of powers, and that will make the system work.
Did the judge write some kind of ruling that explains how she came to this so that we can research it? Like she looked up, constitutional ways and means, or looked at, or did she just,
Did she show her work?
bang her gavel and say, ladies need more voice, and told us to shut up?
So she does have a ruling. You can find it online. It is public. It is very long. So rulings are notoriously long. And so you can go and read a lot of that, like that briefing. I have read through bits and pieces of it, but have to honestly say that I haven't even read the entire thing word for word. I just know how it's played out.
I would just like to hear if she has a reasoning for it.
Yeah. And I would say definitely go and read it. It's gonna probably put you to sleep a couple of times, but you should definitely go and read it. There's so many different opinions and rulings and stuff that have come through on this particular issue as it's gone through the process, that there's actually a lot of them that you absolutely can read if you want to. I'm just hoping with all of this that that Utah uses this as a great opportunity to unite and to resolve to stand together in defense of our representative form of government. And
is it possible to write into our Constitution some kind of accountability for judges who kind of
that's what I want to
leave
get
the
to.
reservation?
Judges, we have to impeach judges, correct? But who does the impeaching? Is it the governor? Is it the Senate? Is it the House? Who impeaches judges?
So here is the process for impeachment. Okay. So the House of Representatives has the sole power to impeach. Okay. Impeachment begins in the House with a resolution, and it's introduced by a member of the House. And to pass, the resolution has to get 2/3 of the body to vote for it. So it can't just be a simple majority. It's got to be a 2/3. And then after that, it goes to the Senate, and the Senate actually does the trial. They do the hearing on it. Okay. So the House adopts the articles of impeachment, and after they're voted upon, and then the Senate sits as the court, basically, in this case. And the Senate has to adopt its own rules for how it's going to run the procedure. And they have to have a majority vote there. And then they go through the trial. And whoever is on trial cannot be convicted unless it's a 2/3 vote. So 2/3 of all the senators have to vote in favor of the conviction of that impeachment. And if 2/3 of the senators don't convict.
So it's just like federal impeaching a president, for example. So tell me this, the citizens, do we call you and say, I want you to do this. I want you to run an impeachment on this judge. Like, how do the citizens actually get to use their voice in this situation right now?
Absolutely, that's what you should do if you want that to happen. And I think people should be vocal on this. I think they should speak out. I've had people contacting me all the way along from different sides, but people are mad now. They're so mad. And I think there were some people who thought, no way, this judge is not going to legislate from the bench. That's not really going to happen. There's going to be reasons going to come out of this. And I think a lot of people thought that, and what you're seeing now on social media, and, when you're talking to people about it, is just like this utter shock, but just so angry because people are feeling protective now of their state and their constitution. And rightly so. I think that they should be. I think that if we're gonna, as a legislature, we're saying, okay, are we gonna go and present this to the Supreme Court? Are we gonna, what are we gonna do about this? And if there's action, that the people want us to take, I think they need to speak out for it, because we need to know that, I mean, that's the whole point of us.
Right back.
We're doing what the people want to do, right?
Well, Nicholeen, I know that our state party has been on this. They have been vocal. Robert Axon has been vocal. This has just been, and as the governing body, we're meeting this weekend. We're going to discuss this and plan of action. But at the end of the day, when a judge can overrule my elected leaders, the people that represent my voice, that me and everyone gets to choose at the ballot box, when a judge who I don't get to choose gets to decide something is going to be super laws, really? People barely vote. We're trying to get more people to vote. We're trying our hardest to get out the vote and get people registered and get them educated on what they're actually voting on. And yet such a small fragment do vote, and we need it to be more, so we know exactly what the voice of Utah is. But that's where legislators come in handy. Like, this is where our House representatives, where you're constantly running for office, it feels like, and you're constantly having to engage with your voters, not having to, but you get to. Those who want to be engaged, whether they agree with you or not, those people that are engaged are the ones who are impacting our legislators. And I personally would love it if any listener we have that lives in Utah would please consider calling your legislator, your representative.
Come on in.
And
I just want to take a minute
to make sure, just make sure that they call their representative. So in Tooele County, we have Bridger Bullender, and we have you, Nicholeen Peck. Mm-hmm. And you can Google their names or go to voteutah.gov.
No, it's LE. If you go to le.utah.gov, you could, when you go in there and you go to House or you go to Senate, and then you can pick, it will show you contact information, emails, phone numbers. You can text people, you can call people, you can email people. And it doesn't have to be just your reps, but for sure, I want to hear from the people that I represent in Tooele County. And I'm sure that Representative Bullender would want to do the same. And same with Senator Sandel. I'm sure he would want to hear from people too. And so just making sure that you're reaching out to your reps and your senators, but go further than that too. Let other people know what you want to have happen. It's really, your voice matters. I don't think that people understand how much their voice matters. We hear from people about various things, all the time. When we hear from a lobbyist, we're like, nah, it's a lobbyist. But when we hear from a person who's like, hey, guess what? I live on the corner of whatever and whatever, and I'm just right in your town. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening. Because now you're a person that actually I'm going to probably see at the store. And you're a person that sees things probably the same way I do, because you're in my town. So now I want to hear what you have to say. And so I think, we've got to have people reaching out. If people can educate anybody about the issue. I hope, I'm not the full encyclopedia on this, and I'm not an attorney, and I am just a freshman. So I'm diving in, and here we are. I dove into this, it was just ongoing already when I got there. But hopefully people have learned something tonight about what's going on, and hopefully they feel like they could say a few things about what's happening, because I know people are frustrated, and sometimes you just need to tell someone, hey, I care. And then when we hear from enough people, then we'll be able to say, okay, this many people are saying impeach. This many people are saying Supreme Court. This many people are saying whatever. And
what they're saying in DC, though, Nicholeen, is we're going to add a state. We're going to add a seat in the House out of Utah. And we're going to get this state purple or blue. But the whole plan is to override our own constitution, whether they're saying it out loud or not. That's what it looks like. That's what it sounds like. And I'm hearing Bennett McAdams, his name's getting floated around like he's going to be the new congressperson out of Utah. And I'm thinking, wait a second, we don't even have a map. And then for the party, I just need to know, are we going to be able to get signatures and change this as citizens?
No, that's
Let
a
me-
really good question.
Let me still this for just 1 minute so we don't keep
Do you want
Cindy
to give
any
her
longer.
headphones?
I don't have another set right handy. We'd have to go pull them down. But anyways,
How are you?
I'm
good. How are you? Good.
okay. So this is Cindy Kirk. This is Nicholeen Peck. She's Twilla's representative.
Yeah.
She's our house rep.
I
So,
recognize the name. I've just never met her.
okay. Well, Nicholeen, this is Cindy. She can't hear you because we didn't grab her headphones and they're over there and I could grab
I'll
them.
just wave extra
What?
big.
I'm moving mine.
Oh, Cindy, she's a part now. It's the Twilla Quilting Guild. Is that what it's called? Here, just pull the.
The Quilters Guild.
Is
Actually, we're actually called the Twilla County Quilters.
it pulling right there? Twilla County Quilters. Now,
Yeah.
yesterday was Veterans Day, and I'm a veteran, and I wasn't able to make it to the Veterans Breakfast where they normally hand these out. But these ladies, there might be a dude in there too, but they're ladies from what I understand.
There are a couple of dudes.
So
See, there's some
not very
dudes in
many.
there, right? Had I known that, I would have.
talent. I've been
But
to the meetings.
every year they make blankets for local veterans. And if you know any veterans, give Cindy their name or give them their name. And they,
I have one. I mean, I know multiple, but the one next door to me came to a thing at my church last night because the youth at my church did a veterans thing. And he was like, I've never been honored. He was in Vietnam. And he's like,
especially the older ones. We
Yeah.
we've got to sort out the older guys. I'm a young veteran. But there are some out there, especially the Vietnam. If you got a Korean War veteran, if you got a Desert Storm veteran, any of that, we need to get them on the rosters right now because they're falling off the
older.
backside, and we've got to get them on there.
Yeah.
I'm giving her names of young ones, but I also know some older ones that most of them have already got their quilts. But these ladies, I want to hold this quilt up now you get to pick your quilt. So my Aunt Norma, she says, hey, pick your quilt. She knew I couldn't make it. So got to hold it up the right way.
And you've put yourself on the back burner for years because you
I've
wanted
tried
to get
to.
those.
I've tried
older
to, but-
vets an
but they,
opportunity.
But let's if we can stretch it out. This thing, look at this
Wow.
thing. Look at that.
Wow!
These ladies and possibly a gentleman
Look at the flag
made this.
pattern.
they
Stars and flag on the quilting.
so in the stitching inside of there,
Amazing.
it's flags and stars. It's very patriotic. It's a beautiful blanket.
Let's hold it up so I can get a photo of my mother who quilts.
Yes.
Will definitely approve.
So these this is something they do, and then they every Veterans Day they have a breakfast. You can go in there. I was able to go to it 2 years ago, and they hand these out to the veterans, and I just think it's
I just want to get one picture of the quilting.
yes
Of the quilt
the best.
machine, right?
It's touching that I don't get emotional often, but it's touching that they just do this.
yeah.
They put forth their effort, and this is effort. This is
That is stunning.
it's
So did you
beautiful.
see the eagle? Yes. That's quilted.
Do you know what that's called, Jared? There's a word for that effort.
So
and
beautiful.
it's called public virtue.
Yes,
You
yes.
can get emotional.
That's what it's called.
I'm not crying.
And everybody can have public virtue in their own way. And so, my public virtue is I'm doing the legislative work and taking all of the stuff that comes with that, right? And putting my life on hold to do that. And you and Holly are engaging in public virtue right now with this podcast and getting the message.
Oh, I don't know if anything I do is virtuous. I do public
but
talking a lot of crap.
What Cindy and her guild is doing is public virtue. And I just think that's how you know right there that America is not lost, because there's all these people stepping up in their own way to make the world a better place, to give to other people, to show appreciation to other people, to put their heart in their lives and wear it on their sleeves. And to me, that is what it's all about. And really, that's what we're protecting, right?
Yeah.
I'm completely honored by this. I am.
So there's a few things about this quilt you should know. First off, it's actually the Elks Lodge that sponsors the breakfast.
Okay, the Elks Lodge sponsors the breakfast.
Yeah, we're just kind of the guests.
The ladies as guests throughout the whole year long. There's how many's in your group?
There's over 70.
70, and they will have the quilts for days.
Yeah, this year we were able to make 52.
Wow.
But this year actually tops 300 that we've awarded. Since we started.
Nice.
So we did have to set a few rules. You can only get one.
Oh, well.
Who donates the material?
It's the quilters.
Yeah, they make it.
That is so expensive. Fabric.
We've had a few people that have given us donations, but it's not something that we actively seek.
Yeah.
So you're not
Does that make
fundraising
sense?
for this organization?
We don't.
Wow.
Well, it's kind of selfish on our part. We just like to play with the fabric, and this gives us a good reason to play with it.
There's one old guy there whose wife does the quilting, and I was chatting with the old cowboy guy, and he was telling me, his wife was telling me about the quilting machine he got her, and we're talking
Very
price of a car.
Yeah.
And
Easily.
I'm like, oh wow. And he's like, yep. But men can make eye contact and say few words and we understand the meaning. It kept her out of his garage.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that.
Yep.
But he seemed like he was happy to have got her that system that kept her occupied so he can go do his stuff. Yes.
My mother is a quilter, and this is something that truly brings her joy, and especially a reaction that shuts you up for 5 seconds, worth every stitch.
So we actually put them on display for a couple of days, usually the week or the 2 weeks before, and we invite the veterans to come in and look at them so they can decide which one speaks to them. Yeah. It's pretty hard because there's 52 of them.
Oh yeah,
this week there was 52 of them.
Norma sent me multiple. I picked this one for a couple reasons. I like the position of the flag on it.
Yeah,
that was behind it. There was another one where a soldier was holding a baby up, and I really like that one. But I think that one should go to a veteran with a baby, in my mind, or a veteran who had a baby when they were deployed. So I was kind of. So that's why
I'll tell you who that one went to.
You had a baby.
Who did it go to?
It actually went to a husband and wife that both served.
Outstanding.
Oh, that's great.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because the guys, when they come in and look at the quilts, they go straight to the picture. they like the panels.
Mm-hmm.
The ladies will, because the husbands will bring their wives with them, and the wives will look at them and are like, that one's a lot of work.
Oh, they realize.
Because why would you take this really big piece of fabric and cut it down really tiny and then stitch it back together?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
And they want to touch it, feel it, and they want to see the details on quilting alone.
I don't know if I can show the stitching on camera, but
this one has an eagle. And there's a flag, an American flag that's off his foot.
I'll share what I have.
Yeah, the eagle's flying. So you got an eagle here, and the eagle is flying with the flag, and that's done in the stitch. I know you can't see it on the camera.
I'll put it on Facebook.
Yes,
Yeah,
It's
all of them are
beautiful.
very different. It's interesting to us that a couple of years ago we did a challenge as a group, and we bought like a whole bolt. So we had like 20 of the same panel.
A whole bolt.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we had like 20 of them.
I know
20 of
all
these
you guys out there
pictures.
know what a bolt is.
Yeah.
A bolt is about, different sizes, and it's
5 yards of fabric.
threaded.
Yeah. It's usually 8 to 10 yards of fabric.
A bolt is 8 to 10 yards of fabric.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so one of these pictures is usually the one we used was a yard. So we had about 20 of these pictures, and the challenge was to finish it. And we had about 8 ladies that accepted and finished it on time. We've had a few that have come in the next year, but
You guys
it was
got like a
interesting.
cutthroat competition
yes.
down at the
But
Ladies
it-
Guild, talking smack to each other.
But it's interesting because that same picture was on 8 different quilts, and as people came through and looked at them, they had no idea that they were the same because of the way they were finished.
Amazing.
Whether it was the colors around them or the blocks around them or the quilting, that you could see the stitches. It was it's very interesting.
So the quilting is the stitching.
Yeah.
And the blocks is when they
it's
have
like this flag.
Yeah, the flag.
The
It's
stripe.
something outside where they've sewn two materials
Yeah, where we've
together.
cut the fabric up and then sewn it back together.
Okay. All right. I
Yeah.
get. And the back is very beautiful for everyone to see. And if
Yeah.
you guys are just listening, let me explain this to you. It's an eagle on the front that's flying.
The
And
mountain
then-
scene in the back.
Yes, and then it's got a pattern sewn into it that looks like the stars and stripes. And then if you look at the back, it's got patriotic stars and stripes with the red, white, and blue pattern on the back as well.
Yeah.
It is beautiful.
We had some people ask us as they came through this year how long it takes to make a quilt from start to finish. And it takes anywhere, once you've picked out the pattern and the fabric, because that could take months, really. Between the cutting of the fabric, piecing it back together, quilting it, and binding it, it could take anywhere from 15 to 80 hours, depending how intricate it is and how big
Seriously. When I was a
So-
kid, when my aunts pulled in, we got low and fast because we knew there was one of two things happening. We were either cutting coupons, which hot garbage, or we laid under a quilt with the old wooden frames,
it is. Yep.
and a needle would come down and
Yeah,
you'd poke it back up.
Yeah.
And so we'd see Aunt Margie or Aunt Rosie pull in, and we would get low and run out the house. We'd try to leave because otherwise you were slave labor all day.
Well, that machine that you were talking about earlier, a lot of us have them and they're computerized.
Oh, they're amazing.
So we don't have to lay under there. We just hit start.
They're
You-
amazing machines.
I know they're even the manual one where you have to hold it. That's
Yeah.
still where you follow a pattern up top.
Yeah.
But the new computer ones, I've seen them run. They are like a CNC machine.
They are.
You know,
That's exactly what I would compare it to.
Yes, they really are. It's
like a cricket, kind of where you
Yeah.
put in that design.
that's my girlfriend's hobby is the cricket. She's got a cricket room and she's making all sorts of fabulous stuff.
Well, Cricut only takes up a room about this size. The quilter
Not even this
The quilter
size.
takes up half the basement.
Yeah.
The quilter we're talking, the one I saw was 15 feet wide.
Yep.
Yeah, these are
It
huge.
was huge, and then all the fabric was rolled up on 3 rolls, and it'd feed it through.
Yep.
It was pretty amazing. But
We had to remodel our basement so ours could fit. So I understand.
Oh, now that. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This
It's
is-
just our simple way to say thank you for your service.
This is
And our only hope is that you enjoy it, however you
Oh,
want to enjoy it.
1,000%.
Whether you snuggle on the couch with it, or we had several people tell us that they were going to hang it on the wall, and it was going to be a conversation piece.
This one's beautiful enough.
We just
easy.
want you to enjoy it and understand that we appreciate what you did.
It means a lot that you guys think about doing this.
Yeah. To be completely honest, the whole thing started. We have a son that was in the Navy, and he called me one day and he's like, "Mom, I need you to make me a quilt."
Mm.
And I said,
He didn't like
"Okay."
the green, the itchy blanket. What?
Well, he said the ship was really cold.
Oh,
And I said, well, how big do you want it? And he told me, and he said, but here's the deal. It has to be ugly. And I said, okay, thank you, I guess.
So no one steals it?
That's exactly why.
Yeah.
He didn't want it to be stolen. And so, so I had called, it's not a patriotic veterans quilt like this is. I'd called people in the family and coaches and scout leaders, things like that. And they all told me something that would remind Zach of them. So like he had a coach that he went and worked in Alaska for the summer with at a salmon place. So his piece of fabric has fish on it. The scout leaders has canoes. My mom's famous for loving Coca-Cola. My dad has a mustache.
Handlebar mustache.
I love this already.
Yeah. And so you can't, and then when it got into the nieces and nephews, you added in, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Frozen and, really weird stuff. So you can't put that together and make it be cute.
Oh, that is true.
It's a scrambled mess.
It's a scrambled mess.
It looked like a schizophrenic
But
dream.
the very bottom square says, if found, return to, with his name. So there was no way it was going to be stolen.
If I put on here, if you know a veteran that should be included on their list, please reach out to who? Who would they reach out to?
Well, I do the master list.
So is it you?
It's me.
Are you okay
But
with
we
giving
have
out your
a-
phone number, or do you have a preferred method?
Yeah, we could have you reach out to the show and
a
then we
Facebook
could be
or
in between.
Yeah, you can text them to me.
okay. So
But there is the Quilters Guild, the Tooele County Quilters have a Facebook page.
okay, so we got Tooele
Okay.
County Guild
The
Quilters.
Tooele County Quilters Facebook page.
Okay, now Cindy Kirk, don't inundate her phone with phone calls at 11 at night, people.
No.
Let's
Text
do
message is
text.
best.
Let's do text in business hours.
So the rule is though that the veterans do have to live here in the county.
Yeah, they've got to
Because we
be
are a county group.
Tooele
Does your
veterans.
person live in the county, Nicholeen? Excellent. So she has
And we
them.
have there's a few rules about it. So they have to live in the county.
Mm-hmm.
We currently have 70 names on our list for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I try my best. I get their name and I get their address, sometimes a phone number in case I've got it wrong, in case they move.
Yeah, you messaged me and told me about it.
Yeah. And then sometimes I'll ask when they served. And it's kind of a sneaky way to find out how old they are. So that I can put the older ones at the top of the list.
Yes, and if you've got a Korean War, Vietnam
Yeah.
War,
She has two Vietnam.
those ones need to be at the very top. Koreans are almost gone, and the Vietnam is right behind them. So
Well, 3 years ago, we awarded one to a World War II vet.
I know, and we've got not many of those left.
No.
I do also have a Korean name that I want to check on.
What if
But
if you have a veteran and they wanted to donate the materials, for example, is that allowed? Or is that kind of taking your artistic?
No, it is allowed. It is allowed. We've been using that money for backs
Okay.
and for the batting
So people
and
can
maybe
donate.
to do like the challenge of a panel.
I like that
Um,
there's a lady competition going on.
There
Like
is.
underground, it's like
Some men.
it's like a blood sport. Oh, and a couple dudes.
My only concern with letting people know that we do accept donation is we're not asking for them.
You don't
We're
want
not
it.
going to actively go out and seek them. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to pay for a quilt because that is not our intention. We enjoy what we do. We have a fun time doing it. We get to try some new things. We get to explore new blocks,
Oh yeah.
it sounds really weird.
No, it's amazing. There's so
But-
many block patterns out there.
Yeah.
And there's the newest, and then there's the log cabin, the one
Yeah.
you go back to. That's
Yeah. So,
it's such a great
pretty much this year we used, I'm not going to say all of my stash, but we used quite a bit of the fabric from my stash, and it doesn't honestly look like we even touched it.
Every quilter
Like, really,
has a
doesn't-
stash.
Yes, we
Every
have a
quilter,
stash.
and that stash is usually like a woman who collects makeup. They save it for the really special times.
Yeah.
But then it's never special enough, or you forget you had it.
Or it's like scrapbook paper
Absolutely.
and stickers, and
But
you know,
it takes up way
all
more
over.
space. Literally, my mother's a quilter, and she has a basement that
yeah.
is a stash. And the
Yeah.
minky stash is my favorite, which I love the minky material.
Yeah,
Minky?
this,
Oh,
we
that's the
actually
fuzzy
You
soft.
can't really quilt as well, like with this whole quilting pattern.
We
it
had
just
probably
makes it
half of
tougher.
them. Half of
Wow.
them that we made for this year had minky on them.
Had the fuzzy.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
someone wanted to join the Tooele County Quilters, do they just put a message to you on
There's a
Facebook?
hardcore competition to
I'm
get
sure
involved.
there
It
is, yes.
sounds like.
We meet on the third Tuesday at 9:30
Morning or night?
a.m.
We
9:30
meet
a.m.
The third Tuesday
At 9:30 a.m.
every month.
at the Health Department Auditorium.
I'll just put
Awesome.
8:30.
So there's like it's like Fight Club.
Yeah, but you don't talk about Fight Club.
with fabric and scissors.
You don't talk about Quilters Guild. Now, is
No.
there a separate guild, or did you guys change your name? Because I always put my pinky up when I was
We would
talking
always-
about the guild.
Yes. I always refer to ourselves as a guild. It has something to do with the state. We're
Like a-
somehow associated with the state guild.
Okay.
So we're not a guild.
It's like
We're
a
a,
franchise you have to belong
Yeah.
to and pay fees.
maybe.
So you said at the health department auditorium?
Yeah, Health Department Auditorium. We do a couple of open charity shows a month.
Mm.
And I'm going to give them a shout out because I think it's amazing. But the Grantsville Police Department has a brand new building that's like 5 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
They have a conference room in there, and they let us use it every month for free.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
And I'm not going to tell you what it took to find a place to hang these up because we don't have the money to pay for a place.
Yeah.
Venues are expensive.
And
And,
nor
uh,
should you have to pay for a place.
Yeah, but everywhere I called, there was only one place that was willing to let us use it.
And
for free.
Grantsville City PD said, yeah.
But well, they let us do an open sew. Like we show up with our sewing machines
Oh,
and ironing boards, and we cut and we sew all day long.
So you
need,
guys go there-
Excelsior
And then-
Academy to help donate because
What is-
Excelsior does a Veterans Day celebration.
Yeah.
And it's this whole thing, but they've got such good energy when it comes to supporting the veterans. Like, I wonder if they would open
what did
something
they?
up for you.
I actually, that's kind of funny you bring them up. Their principal, maybe, does she own a stamp shop in Grantsville?
There's 2 male principals for the elementary and junior high, but there's like assistant. Like
There's a
vice
stamp
principals.
shop in Grantsville. I'm learning so much. Isn't there like
she
a?
actually made us, she told me she worked at one of the charter schools, and I thought it was Excelsior, but she made us a stamp that we now use as our label. Yours doesn't have it on there because it came in late, but
That's awesome.
the stamp says, thank you for your service, made with appreciation by a Tooele County quilter.
I love it.
That
And
is
so
awesome.
we just stamp the fabric and we put it in the corner now.
So
they're
now,
all
and
the
you guys
same.
also go. Do you go on the little out? I say little. The 5-day outings where you guys go somewhere and
Like a retreat.
yes, those things.
They're
Or-
wonderful.
Yeah,
They're so fun.
yeah. My Aunt Norma, she gets all bubbled up and ready to go.
Yeah.
Do you guys host them? And like
We
bring all
actually
the
did.
people together?
We actually just hosted one. It was the week before Halloween. It was a 3-day deal. And
Mother.
and they actually, one of the projects they did was a quilted jacket where you take a finished quilt, not this one obviously, but you take a finished quilt and they cut it out
Yeah,
to make it into a quilted jacket.
like a vest or a jacket.
You could make it a
Full,
vest, but
full.
it's sleeves and everything, hoods.
I've
That
always
was
wanted
what the class was.
I've always wanted my sisters to crochet me a whole suit, but I'm thinking a quilted suit would be pretty wild.
Yeah.
Though it couldn't be thick.
Do you know how to
No.
sew?
I can put a button on and hem a
Because
seam.
I am famous for breaking every sewing machine I touch. It somehow passed me, my mother's talent. It just skipped right over me.
That's funny. Some of us just pick it up later. I did.
Yeah,
I didn't
my
pick it
mom
up
too.
till I retired. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Okay, so
Where did
just
you retire
recently
from?
then.
I used to own the Domino's pizza stores
Oh, really?
here in town.
Outstanding.
That's cool.
Yeah. And you retired from owning it?
I sold them 12 years ago.
Okay, good.
I
Good.
look younger than that.
I had one in Grantsville, one in one in Tooele, one in Grantsville, one in Cedar City.
Okay.
Are there
Okay.
any more rules? I've got that they must live in the county. They must be patient. There's a waiting list. And
There is a waiting
hard
list.
to get everyone, and they
Ju-
try to
and-
get our older vets
But they
first.
do stay on the list until
And
they
you
get
guys
them.
just be
You
open.
can
Don't
donate.
make her dig for what area they served in. Just open up. If they are Vietnam or Korean War veterans, say this is a Vietnam veteran, this Korean War veteran,
Yeah.
era veteran, whatever. Be open. Just let them know so they can get their names up there. We can't hide this from those.
Yeah, the whole purpose of that information is just to make sure that they don't pass before we
Yes.
can give them a
And
quote.
those guys, I mean, I don't want to take away from this modern war we've been through, but those guys earned it. Korea, I've been there. I couldn't imagine being shot at there. That place is
Everyone
cold and
earns
miserable.
it, but the Vietnam, Korea, like they got a different welcoming
and
home
Vietnam
that was a real how to do.
Well, Vietnam got that rough welcoming, and also Vietnam. If you look at the stats, Vietnam, Vietnam has levels of contact that is unheard of. We're talking World War II. If you spent a year in a year deployed to war, you spent 14 to 19 days in combat. Vietnam was almost 200 days in contact.
In the jungle.
That means 200 days on the two-way rifle range. It's unheard of in war. We've got to respect that. Those guys earned it.
Both my
Korea.
dads were veterans from Vietnam, and they both now passed away. My stepdad just recently.
Mm-hmm.
I think that something like this means so much to a veteran. I mean, which just by handing one off.
Yeah, so we it was a couple of years ago. My husband recognized a name on the list, and it happened to be his English teacher from high school.
Oh my
Ooh.
goodness.
And I'm not going to remember his name, but he was not well enough to come to the event, so we delivered the quilt to his house, and so it was interesting and very humbling because he flat out said this was only the second time he had ever been publicly thanked for his service. Once it was in a book that had been published, and the other time was receiving that quilt.
Mm.
Do you know something
So-
I know from watching my mom is that, and why I treasure quilts so much, is because the quilter, every thread, every thought, you're thinking of the person that's going to receive your gift, and your appreciation and your everything is getting put into this, every thread. And
I like
it's
how
so
nicely you put
beautiful.
obsession.
No, it's
No,
like
it-
a sincere.
She's really right.
No, she is. What I've noticed about ladies who quilt is it gets into like how I am with guns.
Yeah.
They wake up and they think and they're innovating and
It's more than that.
it's beautiful.
Like my mom, when she's making a blanket, it's for a person, whether it's for any veteran on this list or this specific veteran you have
Or a
in mind,
grandchild.
anyone.
Yeah.
Your
brand new
thoughts
babies.
are
Yeah.
constantly of that person and of that moment that you finally get to give it to them.
Mhm.
And it's like such a treasure that you're getting from somebody's heart, because you're using your own design, your own ideas, and then your own talents, and you're giving so much time and of all your talent. Just, it's such a beautiful thing to watch it from the first cuts to the presentation.
Yeah.
And it's every thread is
Yeah.
thinking of you
Mhm.
and how grateful they are for what you've done.
So the Eagles Lodge was actually kind enough to let us use their building to display these
Okay.
this year. They didn't charge us.
Nice.
She even helped us put them up. But what was interesting is one of the very first couples that came in the wife commented and said she just stopped at the door and she just said, "Wow, I didn't think it would be this overwhelming."
It's heavy.
And so she was just emotional for that. They went through, they picked out the one he wanted, and she said, "We have to come back because I left my phone home, so I don't have a way to take pictures." So they left, and I saw them a little bit later. They'd come back and just so she could take some pictures. We actually published it in the water bill so the public knew that they could come by and just look at the quilts. And we
the
did
mayor's,
the newsletter.
Yeah, the mayor's, what is it called? Mayor's something.
Yeah.
Newsletter's good.
Yeah,
but it comes with your water
comes,
bill.
Yeah.
I like it about Twilla.
Yeah, it's the first year that we've ever put it in the water bill like that. We've had it on the marquee at the park and other places, but we had a few more people come this year just to look at the quilts. Not that they were receiving one.
Yeah.
But they just wanted to have a
event.
look because it was a unique
It's art.
thing. Yeah, it is.
100%.
This is art, and I live in Stansbury. I didn't even know you guys were doing a presentation. I know that the commissioners, Sean Milne, I went to a meeting with him when they were showing the quilts, and I bawled. I bawled at how gorgeous they were. And there is a part in the Festival of Trees where they display quilts, and I'm thinking, you guys could make an event out of these. During the Veterans Day, I just think it would be a great marriage between you and somebody like a Excelsior who does this whole Veterans Assembly to a night before, showing off the quilts. They've got the space, and I will.
Yeah, the biggest issue with the reason that we started showing them, let's start there. The first year we gave out 7 quilts. It was just me and a few of my friends. They were dedicating the Veterans Park in Tooele.
That's the start of the Fight Club.
Yeah. And then we had some specific people we were going to give them to. And then the next year, the Tooele County Quilters, after I'd shown them a few that I'd made at our show and tell, because yes, that's a thing, they decided to get involved. And so we were encouraged to give them away at the breakfast. And that worked out great, except for this. When you've got 40 quilts, I think we had 40 that year. It was the first year we did it. And you're calling 5 veterans up at a time, and they've got 30 seconds, to pick their quilt before you pull the next 5 up. It was overwhelming. And so it was suggested that we put them up beforehand and allow them to come in and really take their time and decide which one they really liked. And so that's when we started displaying them. And so we put them up usually on a Monday or Tuesday, and then we take them down the following day. So they're open to the public from like noon until 6 or 7 at night, and then from like 9 until noon. But it took 6, 7 of us about an hour and a half to get them all put up this year with the stands.
Yeah. Do you have all the stands?
We do.
You own them all?
We bought them specifically for this.
Oh, we need to make an event out of this.
Cindy, this is so awesome.
People can donate if they want.
But you guys probably forgot I was still here.
Sorry.
Well, that's okay. I'm going to go. But I just wanted to say this is so awesome because I'm a quilter. I love quilting.
Oh boy!
But that doesn't mean I have time to join the guild. But and it doesn't mean that I've done it in the last couple of years. I've been kind of busy, but I love that you guys are doing this. I just wanted to say goodbye. So
yes, thank you, Nicholeen. Sorry,
I didn't mean to.
Thank you, friend, and thank you for clearing this issue up. And everybody,
there's still a lot more.
Call Nicholeen, call Bridger, call your local representative, email them, reach out to them on Facebook if they have a page, call your senators, and make sure that they get an opportunity to hear your voice regarding a judge violating your constitutional rights. Make sure they know this is not okay and you want something done on your behalf.
And Nicholeen, we did have a comment for you. We had a couple of them. Jordan asked, he need a better voting system. Is there any volunteer opportunities?
I don't know if he understands what
for Mormon for women. I wish I could help volunteer for multiple organizations if they seem good. And he asked if you're a rep or did you run for office before? This is her first time she ran. She won. Before that, Nicholeen has been a butt kicker, keeping our reps straight, but Nicholeen decided to step up and be one of those reps now. And so that's who we've got there. And then over on
I
Facebook,
can't speak for any of those groups. If somebody wants to reach out to them, they can. But I do know that there are groups of people who are organizing probably because they're upset about this and angry about it. So if that's a type of group, hopefully you can link up with them somehow. I don't have links to things like that.
mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Nicholeen. I'm going to walk Cindy out. Again, if you guys want to put a number in for her before I walk her out, it's 435-224-4014. Just text her. Don't call. Thanks again, Nicholeen. I hope we have you on again. I will be right back. Until then, Holly will entertain you with her singing voice.
Well, Nicholeen, I see there's comments on Facebook that maybe I could at least read to you really quick, or do you have to go? I didn't hear what you said.
No, that's fine. I do kind of need to run, but I just didn't know how long it was going to go. And I thought, oh, maybe I better just cut out now because I didn't want to get in the way later on. But if
no. And I'm so sorry. This is a complete surprise. But so Ty Jensen says, don't worry about Tooele County or the 4th District. I got you covered because I filed as a Republican for 2026 because I won't let our district fall into Democrat hands. That's Ty Jensen. I believe he ran. He recently ran this last chaotic year for Senate, I think.
I was going to say, is he talking about running for the congressional seat? Is that what he's...
I think so.
Wow.
The new 4th District. Katie Adams-Anderton, who she's a doll, and she's been on our show a bunch, and she's a Democrat. She says there's a lot more Dems than 13%. And Katie, I got that off of just looking at the registered Democrat list in Utah. So I appreciate that. And please, if you've got other information, I'd love to know. She also says the lieutenant governor picked the dates. Acting like this is a conspiracy is wild. And I agree with Jared, keep rural together. And then she loves the quilt, Bellissima. And Ty Jensen loves the quilt. And so we got into the quilts. But you can see this is a hot issue for both sides. And, I know a lot of Democrats who will vote in Republican primaries and then they'll go back for the general. This, what I'd love to see is Democrats actually claiming their D and from start to finish and try to get their party excited about the issues and all of that. And they get good candidates and they actually win. It's not a conspiracy theory that Utahns like a more conservative government, which is why they choose Republican over Democrat. But it's independents that rule the state. Am I wrong? I know they rule our county. We have far more independents than we do Republicans or Democrats. And yet we're all red.
There's a ton of unaffiliateds, and I wouldn't call them independents, like independent party. I would say they're unaffiliated.
Unaffiliated. You're right.
How it comes. Yeah. So I would say that's your largest group, and that's how you decide which way that you go. A huge percentage of unaffiliateds in our state are the type of people who say, you know what, I've given up on the Republican and Democrat Party. I don't want to be part of either one of them because of issues that they find there. And so then they just look for what they think are honest and good candidates. And
right.
And so that's what a lot of them do for unaffiliated. Some of them will actually be unaffiliated and just kind of they're disenfranchised with the voting system. They don't feel like they want to participate or that they know what's going on or whatever. And so there's some of that, but most of them do actually still come out to vote. When I was talking with a lot of people when I was running, I talked with a lot of unaffiliateds, and Some of them leaned left and some of them leaned right, but most of them were just looking for a good person.
And this is the thing, like when I talk about Democrats that are my neighbors or like Katie, very logical, very, very heartfelt people. These aren't the people you see in DC or in New York or California. They want logical government. But
She tried to
what
escape.
gets me a little bit nervous is when they cry foul about voting in Utah or that their voice isn't being heard, and then they're happy with giving the donut hole in the largest city the most populated city in our state, and it's like a guaranteed seat. It's gerrymandering through the court system.
It was definitely an activist thing that happened there. I mean, the judge is being an activist judge, and even Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said that. Yay, let's cheer for this judge who's now going to, help tilt the balance of power in the upcoming election and in DC and stuff like that. And so, just a lot of, I mean, even like CNN, I read CNN the day after the thing came out, and even CNN was like, well, it looks like they, found out a way to get a Democrat in there. And I just don't think that we should take this this unconstitutional approach to government. It may seem like a temporary win for something for maybe the Democrat Party, but in the end, it hurts the state forever to set a precedent to legislate from the bench. And that is the thing that I have a problem with. It's not Democrat or Republican or rural or urban or anything. At the end of the day, it's if we don't follow the Constitution, we lose our form of government. I know that there are a lot of people who may want that because they're a bit like anarchist or something, but at the end of the day, that's what protects us and our freedoms and our liberties. And if we give that over to the courts and we can't ever have a voice in anything that happens because the courts are in charge, we've got problems.
Well, and if
that'll come down the line.
I'd like to add the fact that next time it doesn't have to be a Democrat or an activist judge that's voting on your side. It could be used against you very easily. So just as easily as they're saying, she's saying, we're going to bicep the legislature and I'm making this decision that there's super laws now, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's get a very conservative judge that turns around and goes, well, while we're at it then, we're going to bypass the legislature and we're going to stop property tax. We think it's theft. And find a way to fund education another way, because I've just decided this proposition that I would sign today to end property tax. But I also count on my legislature to walk me through to the final conclusion of exactly what that looks like. Where does the money come from?
Let's look at it this way. What if a judge imposes rules on your availability to get Medicaid? Or a judge imposes rules in a state on your availability? You would rather that go through your legislature, So yes,
it's a dangerous precedent. For sure.
It is, and what it'll do is it'll become like it is in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court between both parties is a race to see who they can get in. Every party gets in, hoping that a Supreme Court justice from the opposite party dies, and that it'll become like that in your state courts.
It's
then
true.
Eventually you're diluted into where your justices are only political actors. They're no longer justices that want to look at precedent or what's the better value for the community writ large.
Well, and I think that's a big thing right there, Jared, is can we really stand for it as a people to have an activist judge who is just doing a political thing, who is actually herself violating Proposition 4? Herself. Like the court case was about Prop 4 and she violated Prop 4. The plaintiffs didn't obey Prop 4 and their whole lawsuit was about Prop 4. And so what in the world are we even doing to agree with this? This is unprecedented. it is absolutely a dangerous, dangerous road for us to go down when we're talking about protecting our freedoms and our sovereignty as a state. It shouldn't become about politics. It should always stay about what the law of the land is, what the Constitution of the land says. That's our safety net.
Right.
And it was made a long time ago. Of course, little tweaks happen here and there, but by and large, that document has remained with, very few amendments over the years. So I think we have to take a stand and voice our opinions on this, because then everything will be the courts. And if we give them all the power, then you better believe that whoever gets into any executive branch anywhere is going to be looking for a way to change the court system.
I mean, you might see justices.
It's not smart.
I mean, it'd be rough if you start seeing justices like murdered on hunting trips so they can get a new justice in. I mean, that's where we would head.
Who appointed this judge?
Stuff like that. You mean which governor? That's a really good question.
I'm just curious.
I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that we just had a judge that got in. And I've just lost his last name. Was it starts with an R? Is it Richens or something like that? Anyway, there was just a new judge that got in that I know that a lot of conservatives are like, wow, that's a really good judge, right? A really good conservative judge. I can't believe I lost the name. I was just thinking of it the other day. Anyway, it'll come to me in the shower, but because it's not the names. Those are always the hard bits to hold on to. But anyway, the thought is just like you were saying, Jared. Okay, so now we get this new judge in. Well, what if some other case gets now, sent to this judge? And what if this judge, which I don't think he will, but what if he decides to be political too, because now it becomes this, is that how we do it?
A tit for tat game.
That's what I'm saying. Anything they do, this is what I feel like people don't appreciate. If the Democrats are willing to do it, they are setting the precedent, and whoever's in power will also do it. Republicans don't tend to go along with it, but in this day and age, I mean, with someone like Trump, he's saying, let's cut them off before they do it. They're going to do it anyway. Let's stop it. And I just think this has to stop. The Constitution is the law of the land. Period. The end. We honor it. It has guided us well for 250 years. And this new way, I don't love. And I know the governor isn't happy with what's going on. The parties aren't happy. You see Democrats that are mad about it too, because it clumps everyone into one area that they're saying it should be spread out, but they want that seat.
Well, it does. It would provide that. I do. I definitely want to talk to Katie. She's hearing Katie, if you're still there, say, yeah, I'm still hearing the messages, because Katie is a very good friend of mine, very good friend of the show.
She's amazing.
She is. She's a Democrat. Carries the utmost of integrity. I want to put a show together where I have Holly and Katie both come in and tell me what their party means to them. Because me, as a radical independent who, honestly, I lean towards anarchy, just because government is the ultimate destroyer of something that functions.
When you mean anarchy, though, Jared,
He doesn't mean like
you don't mean like communist anarchy.
No, I'm a yellow anarchist, not a red anarchist.
Okay.
I believe I'm a capitalist. Now, granted, I think our capitalism has been corrupted by our government or with our government. But I don't see government as being a provider of. I see it as a government is a dream of providing a sense of security in that which they have utterly failed at. When Donald Trump comes out and says a 50-year home mortgage.
Crazy.
Okay, I puked in my mouth a little bit for those who didn't hear that. Now, granted, I understand the last time that was done was during FDR, when he came out and they did this 30-year home mortgage. Prior to that, it was 5 and 10-year home mortgages. But the government had so corrupted our system through regulation that they had to expand it to a 30-year home mortgage. Well, again, we're sitting at a precipice of government regulating free market out of the system. And then we're wondering, what can the government do to fix this? Leave. They can quit. They can go do anything else.
We just found out
Pick
they
up
can
a
actually
hobby.
close down for 50 days almost, and the world still turns, albeit in some ways
A
dramatically.
little clunky, like when my flights get canceled and stuff like that. I'm like, oh man.
Well, we can
That's
thank
reason
Reagan for
we should privatize
nationalizing the traffic air controllers and not letting them
air traffic control.
air traffic controllers and not letting them argue for their pay on the free market. Granted, they tried unionizing their way around it, but I'm not totally opposed to unions. I think unions have a negative and positive effect at times. I know a lot of people love them, but let's just ask Detroit how that went. Neither here nor there. I mean,
seriously, we should have privatized. It should be privatized.
It gave Japan a chance to have a zombie economy. If Detroit hadn't tried going hyper union and not destroying itself and making itself, the envy of every 8th world country right below it, then Japan wouldn't have been able to have a zombie economy living off of Toyota and Honda and what have you. But what I want to know is I want to have a show where I have Holly come in and say to me, this is what the Republican Party means to me and this is how it speaks to me. And I want to have Katie, because I trust Katie, to come in and say, this is what the Democrat Party means and what it means to me. And Katie and Holly are both, logical people, and they're both ladies. So,
and a lot of times when I'm thinking about the party, I'm thinking about local, because
I want you to hold that.
That is so impactful to me. And that is my why, because it's where I live. And that's why I do what I do. And I think Katie's the same.
Did you read through these comments?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? You read
yeah.
Ty's running for 4th
and
district.
Didn't Ty run for Congress last time, or did Senate?
Ty did run. So Ty, good luck on that.
Yeah, Ty, we loved you on the show. We'll have to have you on again.
Katie says there's a lot more Dems than 13%. Did you read all these?
I did. And
okay.
Here's the party statistics that I'm going off of. It's out of registered voters, 13.63%.
Okay, so 14%.
Republicans, 51%.
That is an accurate number. That I've seen the number in multiple different graphs. That is the actual. So my suggestion to Katie, if she says there's more, is check your sources, number one, because that is a legitimate stat. But also, my other suggestion would be, if you know people who register as Republicans in order to, I don't know why they do this, but I know that it happens, then tell them to actually register as Democrats so that it looks like you have more people if you really do.
Right.
Because
your party.
Yeah, because this new system is not good. And when this whole redistricting thing was going on, there were people at committee making public comment saying, well, I register as a Republican so that I can have a voice in this state. But if we redistrict this, then, maybe I wouldn't have to do that. And I was like, oh my goodness. So
a lot of people said
so
that.
You're just admitting then that you honestly are saying you believe something you don't believe in order to manipulate an outcome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That people would just say that. And then there was a statement that was made shortly after that, right around that time, from the Democrat Party, if I remember correctly, saying, hey, come back, re-sign up as a Democrat.
It's tough.
Because now they want the numbers to look bigger.
Yes.
Well, it's not just that, but the Democrat Party nationally might stop throwing a little bit of money at you that you might have got otherwise, if you don't look like you're a valuable resource to tap into. Then again, I do understand that they feel like they need a voice. I mean, if you were in California, you might just vote Democrat, so maybe you can gain a little bit of the liberty that's promised to you in the Bill of Rights.
I can't even imagine.
Ty says he would love to quilt for his dad. He served in the 82nd Airborne and Korean War. Is your dad in Tooele? If he is in Tooele County, make it happen. If not, Ty, what I want you to do, and I want everyone listening to do this outside of the county, I want you guys to, if you're not in Tooele County, where we have the most magnificent quilting women on planet Earth, you need to find your quilting women there. You need to start the system. It's going to have your own flavor to it, whatever. But quilting ladies, they're a gang, right? They walk around. They're like the sharks and the jets. They like snap while they stomp, all this stuff.
I don't know where he's coming.
It's West Side Story. Come on.
I know what West Side Story is, but I know quilting ladies.
They're gangs. They
very
run
proud.
in crowds and they go on these retreats. Well,
And some
throw
are
this, like-
retired and some are young.
and they would love to do this stuff. Put the bug in their ear.
And they don't, and a lot of them don't. I mean, they're also fascinating and talented, but they don't know where to go. So the names you gave me, I'm not sure all what is needed, but I'm going to text you her information
Yes.
because she might need their contact information or
She
whatever.
will need their contact. And Cindy wanted me to say she is not asking for donations. She wants to make sure she knows that. This was not a planned event. She just dropped it off because I wasn't able to be there yesterday because I was at work. We were tearing apart the backside of where I work.
but
but
you
anyways.
can donate if you want. And they just aren't.
They're going to accept it under protest. They're grateful for it. Everything.
What's her last name?
Kirk.
Oh. So I'm going to send you her information. Remember, folks, if you do get her number, please don't call.
Don't
just
call
text.
her. Text her. She's a wonderful lady. All these ladies are wonderful. Now, Katie says Vietnam used these traps on our soldiers and it immediately makes you respect us, Guy, for going. I have the utmost respect for Vietnam veterans, not just because they came home to a hostile United States. But like I said earlier, Vietnam stands alone. One, it was the ultimate in corrupt government. McNamara, we should dig him up, flip his grave upside down, bury him upside down, and piss on him.
I
McNamara.
think she might have to go. If you're going to.
Have you guys ever heard of
history
McNamara's
lesson,
Millions?
Let's let her
I
go.
do. I do have to run, but are we
Yes.
good with all the questions for everything that I was doing? I'm so grateful.
Thank
that
you
guys
so
are taking
much.
Awareness to this, it is really important, and I just hope that the Utahns that hear this will decide to take this moment to call to unity. Unify, resolve. Let's stand together in defense of our representative government and our Constitution, and let's decide that legislation from the bench is not okay. So anyway, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Nicholeen. We hope to have you on again soon, hopefully in person one time or another.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
We should actually come in and do another thing in your office. That was way cool.
I actually would like that.
Yes.
So let's definitely set that up. The session's not too far away, so we could definitely do that.
All right, perfect. Everyone, thank Nicholeen Peck.
Thank you.
She is your representative for Tooele. I don't care what party you're from. Reach out to her with your concerns.
That's me.
All right. God bless
All
you
right.
guys. See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so everyone.
Oh, William from Ecuador is joining
Yes,
us.
William, thank you. So just to let people know what
Yeah, let's get into this.
McNamara's millions is McNamara. They needed numbers for the meat grinder of Vietnam. Vietnam, your father's a Vietnam vet.
Both
Infantry.
of them were.
But your
My
dad
dad was in
infantry.
Army. Yeah,
You know,
in the bush.
he wore that pale blue, and they needed to feed so many people at it because it was just it was an ultimate suck. That McNamara came up with this idea of putting people who were low IQ in there, which means Forrest Gump and that Bubba, his buddy, guys who weren't smart enough to function in the real world, they sent them over there to die.
And the draft was huge.
So the
and
draft prior to that, you had to have a certain IQ to even be entered in the draft.
right.
He had it changed so that they lowered the IQ so they could send more.
They could send everybody.
They could send people with Down syndrome over, and they did.
Really? They sent people with Down syndrome to Vietnam.
Yes.
Are you sure?
That's what McNamara's millions were. They send people over that had IQs that were like 74.
Like children in the minds of,
Yes.
they're adults with minds of children.
Yes. And
Thank you,
got them
government.
murdered and got guys in their units murdered because obviously you need to have a certain standard of intellect to operate in a functioning unit in country.
Well-
McNamara is one of the criminals the United States have produced. And
But what
for
did he do?
somehow he's a hero. He did the McNamara's millions.
What is millions? Like, what is that? The
Billion more people.
Oh, I got you. The number. I was thinking money.
So government is always been evil, always will be evil. Yes, that's not everyone who runs for government. Nicholeen is not evil. The idea of government, the idea that you're going to turn over your well-being to people who don't live your life, who are far away from you, and they're going to make decisions, right or wrong, on whatever information is in front of them at the time is wrong. Now, what I wanted to ask Katie, and it looks like Katie's gone, I wanted to ask her what she thinks about this shutdown. Because like I said in the beginning, I'm afraid the shutdown was just craven politics from the Democrats.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. Because as soon as they got that election over, they're like, okay, now we'll have a few go across and vote. And Democrats are mad about it. And what it did is they sold the well-being of their poorest people and Republican people, but they sold the well-being of the poorest amongst us so that they could get craven political points. I can't even imagine that. That just sounds so weak to me. It sounds like the epitome of corruption. So please explain to me if there's something different. Yes, I understand the messaging was they were fighting for an extension of an amendment from COVID for government money to go to people to get on the
Just like
Affordable Care
500
Act.
billion or something.
If you've got to do that, the Affordable Care Act is a failure. It needs to be corrected. That's all I'm going to say to that. We can't just keep throwing good money after bad. Let's say you're driving a 1981 Yugo and you keep having to rebuild that engine. Do you reckon maybe sometime you ought to go buy something, a Buick or whatever? See what I'm saying? Smelling what I'm stepping in. Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
Absolutely.
Anyways.
Well, look at this though. Like they're actually saying there was a blue wave in this last election. And
There
yes,
is
people
every
were
time.
elected, but it wasn't a mandate by any means.
There is every time. There
And-
will be every time. It's always worked.
These are the
It's
same
never
people
not
that
done
won't
this.
say that Trump had the red wave. I mean, guys, come on. Trump is trying, at least what I see, he's trying to get reform. And Republicans are terrible
Look,
at this
I'm-
because they're saying slash this, but they're not presenting a
I'm
better
not-
idea. And
I'm not going to sing
Stop.
Trump's praises
they're-
right now.
they're not giving alternatives, but they're also not deregulating a lot of the crap that has us in this position in the first place with insurance and hospitals and healthcare. All of this is a big jumble. And Democrats have never not voted for more money and more time in the government and extensions ever until now. It feels like they've never seen one they don't like.
Well, okay,
So this
shutdown has become a political weapon.
Yeah, this
And-
was though to
and
get him through the election. I think.
Let me explain my thoughts on this. And someone correct me if I'm wrong or if you have a different read. But it seems like the Democrats like using them as a political punishment. So I remember, and there's a reason I distinctly remember this. What was it, 2014, 2015, that shutdown when Obama was president?
Yeah.
And Obama shut down national parks.
Yep. The World War II park, which is literally
not
an
just
open
World War
air.
II, but even parks that he has no reason to shut down, that have no personnel around him, he shut them down as a punishment.
That's what I'm saying. The World War II memorial is open air. You walk through a sidewalk.
Yeah, but they have
you have to add people to it.
They have parks people there. But there were some places that he forced to shut down that were state run. And he shut down what he could outside of the state. And that was a punishment. And so I'm starting to feel like Democrats are okay with harming the populace for their political desires. And I think you Democrat voters need to get a hold of that, because that's starting to become an ugly feature.
This is what I think of the government.
Mr. Hankey.
This is what I think of the redistricting.
Yep.
It's you put a Santa hat on a turd, it's still a turd.
But I remember my dad took a trip out to see my brother in Maryland. And close to Maryland is Gettysburg. And my dad has this huge fascination with the Civil War and loves it. And he couldn't go see Gettysburg. And I remember that whatever else that dirtbag Obama did, that right there for my dad was dirt poor at the time. He's a little better off now, but he's a little too old to go traveling. And his wife definitely cannot. But then he had a chance. And that dirtbag to punish the United States people for daring to have the political opinion that differs from his.
Can we just remind ourselves their messaging is much better, and his messaging was
I don't
better
think their
during that
messaging
shutdown?
was better.
No, because I'm talking just about the approval ratings and stuff.
Well,
the Democrats, just a sec, the Democrats were messaging better, and they were calling it the Republican shutdown, and that's what got Ted Cruz all like pinpointed, and he's the devil. And yet, in the thing is, our messaging is better this time, to where the approval is showing and reflecting. And mind you, these are 7% of the American people that they're talking about that need these subsidies for their insurance. So 7% of the American people, and the Democrats are going to go to war over it and shut the government down and wreck everyone's lives. And mind you, we're going into the holidays, and a lot of people aren't going to be able to travel if this doesn't get worked out. And so they're stupid to keep it going much longer. But look how political it is. They waited till after the election, and then they're willing to talk. And a lot of the Democrats are on record talking about how they'll never compromise. This is crazy. They've compromised. And just look at the ones who turned the 10 they needed to move. Look at them and why they're the right ones, because it's safer for them to vote on behalf with the Republicans.
They're in safe districts, almost like it was planned.
Exactly like it's planned.
So,
and they're going after Chuck Schumer.
I want you guys to think about this. This is a message for Katie. Katie, I love you dearly, but explain to me why this feels like they were willing to damage people who are on food aid to get their political whims.
It's sick.
Granted,
I'm talking about human beings.
Yes. That is something that'd be hard for me to score. Now, I've got my gripes about the Republicans right now. That 50-year gosh dang home mortgage, that's how you become you will own nothing and eat the bugs, right?
That's a short-term solution
Trump
to the problem with our
Trump
housing.
is diving right in. He may as well have his nose 3 foot up Soros's ass, right? The next thing, this Epstein thing had better get solved, because more stuff comes out every month. And you know what, Trump? If you're part of it, you need to fall on that sword. You need to. But he's not going to, because Trump is looking to make sure that Trump has a beautiful legacy.
He's trying to also protect the seat after him.
The Republicans are going to be smashed when this is all done. They're going to be smashed. You think there was any type of blue wave or blue dart or whatever they call it? Anyone know what a blue dart is?
Yeah.
Or use it? No.
If you're smart,
anyways,
you do. Real ones know.
The Trump is right now, and this is it's gonna be a case where the Republicans might lose like a decade.
Over the Epstein files?
More stuff comes out every month.
I think it's more scary to know if judges are going to rule that he can't do tariffs.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
That's frightening.
But I'm saying what was one of MAGA's bullet points.
No, I get it. What I'm agreeing with you. If a judge rules that Trump can't take tariffs, for example, that's going to hurt us in the midterms and the presidency.
Sure.
These things, though, could all be the Epstein thing. As far as like national polls go, it doesn't have the highest percent as like the economy right now, where people can't afford housing. He's throwing out the idea that you make it a 50-year mortgage, which is ridiculous because you add 20 extra years and you save $200, and yet you end up paying so much more for your house. But most people won't stay in it. They're just leveraging the house
45% more.
20 years, they sell it, they get their money back and move on to another house.
Well, that's if the housing market keeps climbing. Right. Imagine when you've got to get out from underneath a 50-year mortgage when you've gone upside down and can't afford it no more. No, you know what? It doesn't matter. The government is going to do what governments have done historically forever. You know what? No culture has ever failed without a government driving that failure. That's just a fact. And we're no different. So that's where we're at. But anyways, but I would love to hear Katie's answer on that. That just seems so Craven to me. You hear the people, and people were openly talking about how they're going to commit crimes because of it. And I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, man, the politicians that you voted for drove you to this because they did not want to sit down and figure out how to draft legislation to cover it.
You mean do their jobs?
Or even push it onto their states to draft legislation to cover it or anything. They just wanted that political theater.
Yeah.
And people were actually hurt by that.
Our veterans are hurt by it, folks.
Not just our veterans, just people, single moms, the thing that the Democrats always speak up for.
Ones struggling the most.
I'm telling you. And it just felt Craven to me.
Republicans went to vote on it 14 times that I know of. It could have been 15 now to try to settle this.
And don't get me wrong, I actually don't have a gripe with all Republicans. Right now, I think the administration needs to come clean on some stuff. I mean, they've gone so sideways that, there's kind of a little civil war going on. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene has become a spokesperson for what is really happening now. And she's a spokesperson against the administration on it.
Yeah, I've seen that.
When you're breaking off a person that's in there specifically to cover that stuff, to cover
someone who
the corruption,
ran because of him.
Where we at?
And then I heard AOC actually give a snippet on why she's doing it. And she says because she wanted to run for Senate. This is all alleged.
AOC couldn't find her ass with both of her hands.
What she's hearing is that Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate in her state and for next year and was told to stand down by President Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a slap in her face. And she's going, wait, what? I could get the votes. This is important to me. I don't know if it's true, but at the same time, she's not someone who would turn on him easily.
It's turning out that way.
William, thank you for joining us from Ecuador.
Seems like we're having a little bit of an issue with one of the connections somewhere.
Yeah, and does that say finish update up there?
I don't know. It
says that on your Facebook too. Maybe it's a computer.
Yeah.
I can't even find our Facebook feed on Facebook.
Streaming. It looks like our Facebook tried. And our Facebook's still going right there.
It's so crazy.
Of course, you never can find stuff.
I'm on Facebook.
But anyways, Everyone, I think that's the show. I've got to get to bed because I've got to wake up in the morning.
Look,
and
though, I'm on
Get-
Facebook. That's my post.
get back at it.
And that's yours telling us about the show,
Mhm.
but it's not on here. Anyway, you guys, there's so much going on in your government, and please don't let this hinder you. Stay engaged and try to figure out what feels right to you. Call the people representing you. I want my congresswoman back to work. I want flights to go on time. I want people to get their food if they need it. And, this is not, we are people, we're human beings. Our lives are affected by these stupid decisions made, and political theater is a joke. At this point, we need to put an end to it. But how do we do that? We have to stay local and demand more of our local government. And hopefully, when it's election time, we look inward on the people we're sending to Congress, and we expect that they will serve us there. I feel like we've been represented well. I'm glad we didn't cave. This is like billions of dollars they're fighting over, like it's entitled and like it's everybody. And it's not everybody. It's 7% of the people who are getting Obamacare subsidies. 7%. You're going to stop all of this function that actually everybody needs to survive in this country.
I would like to know. I don't want to call it Obamacare because I want to be clear in my speech, but I would like to know what percent of the population goes through the Affordable Care Act and what the outcomes are. Or do we have a better outcome nationally? And that's something we'll look up.
That up.
We'll look up later because I do have to go. I have to wake up at 3 a.m.
Why don't you just stay awake? I mean,
because I work dangerous stuff.
well, there's that.
We're dealing with cranes and such. That's where people die. But anyways, we'll cut you guys loose. Thank you very much. Thank you, William, Jordan, Ty, Katie, Aunt Norma. Obviously, thank you. Norma, thank you for putting my name in there.
And to Sherry, you say the guild is open
Dennis
to everyone.
is watching us from Facebook in Alaska.
Hey, cool.
Dennis, how are you doing?
Thank you for joining us, Sherry.
Yes. Sherry, thank you. Sherry, join the fight club.
Well, Sherry, join it.
Yes. Yes, I want to see.
You've got a cool machine, and you've got such amazing ideas, and you are so talented. Join it. And
everyone, thank you. Have a good week.
Call your legislature.
I just want to say, we just went through Veterans Day. Everyone, thank you for your service. Those who have served, those who are at home who supported, thank you for supporting those who served. My time in was nothing. My time in was easy. Some guys really had a go at war while they were in it. We really need to take a moment and think about that. And everyone, the story of 11/11. There's a reason that Veterans Day is on 11/11, and it's the armistice day from World War I, and that's why you see everyone like, oh, the magical number. They post 11/11 on their clocks, and it's kind of amazing day. The first modern industrial war ended on that day. So let's take a minute and appreciate. So 24.3 million enrolled. So that would be 10%.
Yeah,
a little less than 10%.
It's not very many people that are enrolled in ACA marketplace plans.
I would hope that if I come up with the ACA, I'd want more people to be involved because it functioned. But anyways, Dennis, Norma, Ty, Katie, Jordan,
and the quilters. Cindy.
Yes, especially the quilters. Thank you for what you do. William, thank you for joining us. Everyone be safe. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week, and it'll be another fun time. And who knows what'll be happening then that I can go on a rant about.
And thank you, Cindy, for coming by and making this guy just tear up.
Well,
be quiet for a good few minutes.
It's quite touching that these ladies, I mean, really, they are putting in hours and hours of effort
Months
and
months.
material. I mean, and they're doing it. It's like a passion project from every direction.
Their own time, their own
it's
dime.
amazing. Yeah. Everyone, thank you so much. We will see you next week.
Bye.